Well, at least it got kind of interesting in the end. For the 7th straight season, the national championship was decided by double digits as Ohio State won the national title by defeating Notre Dame 34-23. The Buckeyes' first national championship since 2014, now becoming the first ever team to win the 4-team playoff and the first ever team to win the 12-team playoff. Something about the first year of things that Ohio State just wants to take advantage of. But the Buckeyes back on top of the college football world. We said it was a 34-23 game. It looked like it was relatively close, but if you do a deeper dive, you realize it was not. It was much worse than that final score indicated. And today, guys, we're here to recap what we witnessed in the national championship game and what this means for Ohio State and Notre Dame going forward. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. So glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. The college football season may have just ended, but it never ends here at our channel. So go check out thegridironexpert.com, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button, stay tuned to everything we have here on our page, on our channel, because we're talking college football with you year round. So again, all that stuff down in the description below, and of course right here on YouTube. So, I think going into this game, a lot of us felt like Notre Dame was at a major disadvantage, right? Everybody was picking Ohio State, rightfully so. We picked Ohio State, and we said the Buckeyes would win by about 10 points. So, almost spot on with the Buckeyes winning by 11. But we said Notre Dame, if they wanted to win this game, they were going to have to win through defense. Their offense was not built to come from behind. Their offense was not nearly as explosive and fast and electric as that of Ohio State. So the defense was going to have to do their job. The defense was going to have to lead the offense. And they were going to have to make Ohio State play their style of ball. And that did not happen. It looked like that might be the case early on, right? Notre Dame coming out the gate with an 18-play, 75-yard drive that took up nearly 10 minutes of the first quarter. So when Notre Dame got up 7-0 just like that, and kind of imposed their will at the line of scrimmage and kind of imposed their will against this good Ohio State defense, we thought, man, we're going to have a ball game. We might have a battle on our hands. Maybe Notre Dame is going to defy the odds. And if they don't win this game, at least take Ohio State down to the wire. And then after that drive, Ohio State scored 31 unanswered points, and Notre Dame was held to 11 total yards of offense on their next 4 possessions. So think about that. They dominated that first drive, got up 7-0, then allowed 31 straight points, only mustered 11 yards of offense. And that was over the course of the remainder of the first half and then just a tiny bit into the second half. So it was kind of like Ohio State kind of came out sluggish. And if you watched our videos, if you watched Ohio State football, that was kind of something they struggled with in the regular season, was starting slow, both offensively and defensively, kind of just like not awake for these games. And then they wake up in the second half, or they wake up after a few possessions. And it felt like that was the case maybe in this game against the Fighting Irish. Overall, the Buckeyes outgained Notre Dame 445 yards to 308. So what was it, 137-yard differential there? And the Buckeyes were so balanced in what they did. 231 yards passing, 214 yards on the ground. Notre Dame couldn't stop them. And they really couldn't stop them in the passing game. Will Howard, 17 for 21, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns. Only 4 incompletions all night. They could not stop it. And that was the funny thing to me is, and I don't know what I would have expected Marcus Freeman to do, but Notre Dame had played so much man coverage pretty much all year long and throughout the playoffs, and they said they were going to do it again against Ohio State, and that was a concern, I think, for everybody, saying, hey, that's great. Man coverage might work against Indiana. It might work against a Georgia team without their starting quarterback. It might work against an inconsistent Drew Aller at Penn State. Is this really going to work against Will Howard, who has been dominating throughout the playoffs? Is it really going to work against great wide receivers like Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith? And it didn't. They had no answer for the passing game, could get no pass rush on Howard at all, couldn't get an incompletion. It was just terrible. It was absolutely horrendous. But then it was an interesting turn of events once you got into the second half. Ohio State dominating the entire first half, dominating immediately out the gate in the second half, jumps out that 31-7 lead, and I'm sure many people probably turned off the game. And if you didn't turn off the game, you almost witnessed what could have been a historic comeback. Notre Dame scores, makes it 31-15. They get that 2-point conversion. And then they immediately forced a fumble. And it was like, okay, now maybe we're getting interesting here. But then they missed the field goal. They got down to the 8-yard line, decided not to go for it, and missed the field goal. But then got another stop, 31-23 with just a little over 4 minutes left. just a little over 4 minutes left, Notre Dame had cut this thing down from a 24-point deficit, the largest deficit they faced all year, down to an 8-point deficit, an opportunity to go tie the game if they could just get one more stop. And that's where Marcus Freeman made one of his many questionable coaching decisions throughout the night. And we'll backtrack and get to what we're going for here. The first questionable decision he made was earlier in the game, where the Fighting Irish were down 28-7, early second half, faced a 4th and 2. And it felt like obviously the game was over at that point anyways. So it was like Notre Dame had nothing to lose. Yes, Notre Dame was deep in their own territory, but you're down 21 points. Your defense is doing nothing to show they can stop the Buckeyes. Why not go for it on 4th and 2? Freeman decided to go for it, but he did it in the form of like a fake punt. Nearly was caught, incomplete. Ohio State ended up getting a field goal out of that. And I just think if you knew you were going to fake it from the start, why not go out there with your quarterback? Why have your backup quarterback throw it? Why not? Why do it through that formation? I think they would have stood a better chance maybe running it up the middle with Riley Leonard or just having him throw the ball instead of going through the fake punt. And you watch that sequence of events. Leonard was acting like he wanted to go for it. There was this long delay, whether they were going to do it or not. Freeman ended up sending the punt team out. They faked it. It was almost too obvious. It was almost too obvious that was what Notre Dame was going to do. And they failed, and it led to 3 points for the Buckeyes. So that was questionable decision number one. The second questionable decision was the field goal we just mentioned. Ohio State down 31-15, gets that big stop, gets that fumble, marches right back down the field, but stalls inside the 10-yard line. So they're facing a 4th and goal from about the 8 or 9-yard line. You're still down 16 points. And again, another thing where Notre Dame kind of couldn't decide what they were going to do and then ultimately sent the field goal team out there. If that field goal had been good, it still was going to be a 13-point game. Still a 2-possession game. So whether Notre Dame had gotten, they missed the field goal, they make the field goal, it's a 2-possession game. The only way you really truly cut into that lead is by going for it and getting touchdown. Maybe the Buckeyes don't get it. Hindsight certainly is 20/20, but I'm sure Marcus Freeman could look back on that and go, man, if I had known he was going to miss, I would have just gone for it. Maybe we would have gotten a touchdown out of it. Maybe we would have gotten a penalty to get a first down. Who knows? But it was an odd choice to kick that field goal at that point in the game, midway through the fourth quarter, down 16 points, when the field goal really wasn't going to do you much good. And actually looking back, you think, man, if he had just made that field goal, after everything that happened at the end of this game, Notre Dame would have had the ball with a little under 30 seconds left, down 8. Still would have had a very slim chance to go tie it if he had just made that field goal. So maybe that's what Marcus Freeman was thinking, but it was odd not to go for the touchdown there. And then the third very questionable decision, the one that maybe proved the most costly, Notre Dame's got momentum. 31-23, they've battled back. They're within a touchdown, a 2-point conversion away from tying this national championship up. They needed one more stop on Ohio State, and with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, plenty of time left. Notre Dame's used their timeouts. Ohio State's facing a 3rd and 11. A 3rd and 11 from their own 34-yard line. And obviously, Notre Dame had been struggling in man-to-man coverage throughout the night, but Marcus Freeman called for a blitz on that down. 3rd and 11, 2:45 left. If you get the stop, you get the ball back and a chance to tie, and you call a blitz, putting one cornerback one-on-one with Jeremiah Smith, who was arguably the best player on the entire field, one-on-one, and he got absolutely burned. Because what else would you expect? Of course he was going to get burned. It was a very poor decision. Some would say you understand the blitz, get after him, maybe force a bad throw, get a sack, whatever you want to do. But if I had been Notre Dame, I wouldn't have blitzed. I would have dropped back into coverage. I would have done what I could do. The defense was starting to pick up some steam. They had to get 11 yards on the play. I would have not sent 7 guys after the quarterback and left my cornerback on an island with the best wide receiver in the game. My cornerbacks who had done nothing to show they could stop this Ohio State passing game all night long. Again, 4 incompletions forced all night. So Will Howard, of course, drops back, lobs it right up there to Jeremiah Smith, who's wide open. 56-yard gain, gets down to the Notre Dame 10-yard line. They waste the rest of the clock, kick the field goal, win by 11. The field goal ultimately sealing it. So a handful of questionable decisions that I wouldn't say cost Notre Dame this game. The Fighting Irish dug themselves in too deep of a hole to the point where their comeback, fell just short. You look at a couple of different plays. The plays goes a different way. If Notre Dame gets one more stop, they make one more field goal, whatever it is, maybe they have a chance in the final seconds. But the Fighting Irish simply just, after that first drive, completely fell apart, and their effort at the end of the game was simply not enough, or simply did not have enough time to come back. Now, Ohio State deserves all the credit in the world. A team that was, again, as we've mentioned, left for dead. They lose to Michigan that season finale. The offense is getting criticized. Ryan Day, many fans are calling for him to get fired. They want him gone. We're tired of losing to Michigan. No way we're going to make the national championship. And they didn't just make the national championship. They didn't just win the national championship. They did it in such a convincing fashion, looking like the Ohio State team we thought they'd be all year long. Killed Tennessee, killed Oregon, really killed Texas, winning by 14 points, coming through clutch in the end, and honestly killed Notre Dame. The score obviously making it look better than the game really was. $20 million spent on this roster for Ohio State, handpicking Will Howard from Kansas State, handpicking Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss, bringing in some of these elite recruits and receivers like Jeremiah Smith. That was what Ohio State wanted. This was a year they had to go all the way. This was a national championship or bust type of year for the Buckeyes, and they delivered. Ryan Day delivered. And they, in a way, truly defied all odds. A 2-loss regular season, very uncharacteristic by Ohio State. Only got the 8th seed in the playoff. Once again, didn't make the Big Ten championship. Faced a gauntlet of opponents to get to this point, and they delivered every single time. So, all the credit in the world to Ohio State. A well-deserved and extremely impressive national championship run. Ryan Day finally getting over the hump and winning the big game in Columbus. The future is extremely bright, not just for Ohio State, obviously, but for Notre Dame. Only year 3, and Marcus Freeman had this program in the national championship game and showed a lot of fight, a lot of grit. Could have rolled over and been done when they got down 31-7. They didn't stop. Notre Dame will be back in this position, I think, very, very soon. As long as Marcus Freeman is there, they always will have a chance. This game will not go down as an instant classic, will not go down as one of the best national championships in recent memory, but I think showed a lot about both of these teams. And now the countdown is on. Ohio State, the champions of the 2024 college football season, and now we wait another 240 plus days to kick off the 2025 season, and we'll wait to see who that champion will be. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Again, we're over 240 days away from the start of next season, but the season never dies here at our channel. We'll be bringing you nonstop coverage right here at the Gridiron Expert online, on YouTube, on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Tons of exclusive content for you. So if you want your college football feel every single day, be here. Subscribe, like, comment, hit that notification bell. Become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.